Hi guys, this is Jiggy, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So in this video, let me pay things forward. I personally learned photography because of professionals during my time that were very generous when it came to knowledge. It was still during the time of forums, but every time you would ask a question, people there would answer it wholeheartedly and help you out in your photography journey. And that's what I want to do today. I want to be able to answer the questions that are always asked of me or those that are sent to me privately. Okay, question number 1. Do you worry about pushing your Sony camera to ISO 3200 or 6000 or higher? Honestly, no. Ever since I shifted to Sony way back in 2013, I had my A7R then and my A7S. I've shot in ISO 6400, 12800, and all those images were absolutely usable. It actually made my photography even better because it allowed me to shoot in situations that normally I would say no to. Those very low light conditions where I want to bring in the ambient light to create the mood of the entire image and pop a flash. Those things for me weren't really usable before until I shifted to this system, which gave me so much confidence to shoot in high ISO. Next, sky change using Magmod gels. To be honest, I don't understand this question, but I will take this opportunity to actually say something that's been bugging me in a way. I've always gotten comments every time I post photos with BTS asking me if I change the sky. And I know that the technology is there now for us to be able to do that, but I'm very old school when it comes to that. I take a lot of pride in saying that I shot it as is, and I use skill in terms of photography, not in Photoshop more, because personally I don't really know how to use Photoshop that well. So if you ask me to change the sky, I really can't. So how do I get those images? It's basically taking full advantage of the dynamic range of my camera and at the same time having a good knowledge of light. Can you explain the metering modes of Sony? I've never really had to play around with the metering modes of Sony because of one thing. It's called live view, meaning I can already see the exposure of my camera whenever I am shooting. So the metering mode comes secondary. I have my exposure compensation dial. When I think that the image is underexposed, then I just twist my dial and it overexposes the image. Or if I think that it's overexposed, I set it to underexpose the image and it does that. So I actually trust my eye more than the metering mode. I'm a photographer, but I don't spend much. How to be old school yet ace in photography? Well, it's as simple as this. Practice and practice and practice. Make sure that your technicals are sound because whether or not you're using an old camera or a new camera, the technicals are all the same. What the new cameras just do is make things easier. But if you know all the basics, there's no reason why you can't be a good photographer. When will you be coming to India? Oh, I would love to actually go to India and give a workshop there, but because of this pandemic, we can't. So maybe after the pandemic, or I could do an online workshop to all our friends from India. We'll see. So leave a comment below if you guys want an online workshop. We'll put something together. When and where do you use bare lighting? When I forget my modifier. I'm just kidding. There are certain aspects of bare lighting that I like that I use so often. With bare, we can actually talk about having a reflector that might not be bare. So let's take this question by face value. You're talking about bare, meaning no modifier whatsoever. So a standard speed light or a bare bulb studio strobe. I use a bare bulb studio strobe if I want to mimic a look of really strong, intense, natural light. So if I don't really have to care about light control, then I'll just use bare bulb. That's it. But when I'm using speed lights, I use bare bulb when I want to get more power, especially if I'm shooting wide. A general rule of thumb is when you're shooting wide, it doesn't really matter if your light is soft or harsh. So what's more important is actually the power of your flash. So if you're using a speed light, inherently those flash units are actually weak. So you need as much power as you can get from them. So by modifying them, you're actually lessening the power. So that's when I use bare bulb. But I never really want to use it tight unless I want to create a very edgy photo. What is the greatest limitation you felt on Sony system, if any? Okay, Sony, don't kill me, but it's true. First generation and second generation. First generation, I never really had lenses to play with. I only had my 35mm and my 55 plus a kit lens at that time. Then finally, now you've got a whole range of E-mount lenses. Fantastic. But the biggest limitation that I really felt during that time was not even about the focusing, which a lot of people complained about. It was never an issue for me because I like pre-visualizing my shots. So more or less, I know where I should be pointing, when it's going to happen, and all those things. But one thing that killed me was the battery life. I remember shooting weddings before with the first generation A7 series. I had 20 batteries for 3 cameras to shoot a whole wedding. So that was my greatest limitation then. But come the A7 III above, when we changed the batteries, I only needed to use 2 per wedding, and that was such a big relief on my part. Okay, next. Do you really need the 70-200 during a wedding, or is the 85 or 135 enough? Yes, you do. You need the flexibility of a zoom lens. Personally, if you're gonna ask me the essential lenses that you need for a wedding, it's a 24-70 and a 70-200. Primes are good in a way for you to be able to get those creative shots, but you have to remember that a wedding is primarily documentation, creatively second. So you need to be able to have that flexibility of a 24-70 and a 70-200 in order for you to be able to document a wedding properly. Can speedlights be used for top-notch professional shoots? Well, I'm a professional and I use speedlights for my work. I don't know if you consider it top-notch, but yes, professionally, it can be used for shoots. Now, here are 2 questions that are actually very similar, so I'll put them together. Will you share your post-processing secrets? And hi, sir, I'm a fan. Thank you very much. I wonder how long do you edit your photos? Okay. I have shared my post-processing secrets in some videos, and how long does it take you to edit photos. And that's why I actually shared my secrets when it comes to editing, because I hardly edit my photos. I take more time in getting the light right so that all I have to do is enhance everything in post, maybe a bit of brightness and exposure compensation in RAW, plus cleaning and sharpening in Photoshop. That's basically all I do when it comes to processing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did, because I truly do enjoy conversing with you guys. I feel that because of these questions that you guys gave me, I was able to talk to you guys personally. And if you have more questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and maybe we could actually create another video like this in the future. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to see some of the images that I've created, feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's at Jiggy Alejandrino. Okay, till the next video.